Hey everybody, it's just me. It's Monday, end of the day, and I wanted to make you a quick video just to tell you to have a really good week and ask if you had any questions with regard to this week's content. Remember, we're talking about learner differences, learner needs. We're getting into more of a generalist look at students in your classroom. The other thing that is coming up is that you are going to have the PLT assignment that's due. And I think I reiterate this quite a bit, but I still have questions, that the PLT assignment really is you making your own study guide. You have to decide, what is it I know? What is it that I don't know? What do I need help with? Do I feel really good about a lot of the maybe vocabulary, but there's stuff that maybe I need to go back and study, maybe theorists, maybe instructional strategies, those types of things for your classroom. So let me know if you need more insight, but nobody's PLT study guide is going to look the same. They are quite lengthy. I've had study guides from 5 to 6 pages all the way up to 20, 30 pages. One of the things I think you should do that's really important to put on the study guide is ask yourself and then put it on the study guide. I mean, you're just copying and pasting. What assessments do I need? Everybody has to take 2 assessments. You take a general PLT. So for ECU, it's general, K6 general, and secondary, it's general. It's just a very practical licensure exam for that content area. So that's very much the ed psych part of that. The second thing that everybody's going to take is a very content specific. And when I say that, there'll be an ECU version, a K through 6 version, and then their secondary version is very content specific. Okay, so if your history, you would take a history content for 9 through 12 licensure, 7 through 12 licensure, excuse me. Also talking about licensure, hopefully that answers your questions. I've had a lot of people say, well, it looks like I have to take 2. You do have to take 2 exams, a general PLT, practical licensure, and then you take another one that's content specific. When it comes to licensure, something I should share with you is I've had a lot of people in the last 2 semesters get their K through 6 or elementary education licensure, and then they've gotten additional accreditation or essentially licensure added on to their Kansas teaching certificate by taking these PLT exams. So for one instance, I had a student that was certified elementary ed K through 6. She did her student teaching at a middle school in 6th grade, and she bounced between science, social studies, and a little bit of math. She did her regular PLTs, which would be the content for K through 6, the general PLT for K through 6, and then she went and took the licensure for 7 through 9 social studies and 7 through 9 science, I believe. I had another student who just did 7 through 9 math. So in the state of Kansas, their licensure is elementary education K through 6, and then like math 7 through 9. And you can get additional licensure that would be 10 through 12. So theoretically, you could teach all the way up to high school math. I'm not sure I would necessarily do that since K through 12 wouldn't have a ton of math content. But because of the shortage of teachers, that's where the state of Kansas changed it multiple years ago, that you don't have to have content hours. You just have to be able to pass an exam. Do with what you want with that. I was the type of person who had to have the content hours to have basically a minor to teach something. I see both as positives and negatives depending on how you look at things. So I just want to alert you to that when you get ready to take these exams through ETS is the website where you're going to register. People say, when do I take them? I would take your general PLT as soon as you're done with ed psych. Before you student teach, just get it over with. It's very general in nature. After this class, you should have no problem passing it. The other thing you should do is wait to take your content specialty one after you student teach. There's going to be case studies. There's going to be other information you're going to want, that contextual ideas from actually teaching to take that PLT. And you can do that after you take the KPTP. So I've used lots of acronyms, which seems to be very educational based, but you can take your general PLT after ed psych, your content one, sometime during your student teaching. However, you're going to have that KPTP due about mid-term when you student teach. So get that out of the way and then worry about taking that exam and getting your resume up to speed and all of that kind of stuff. So hopefully I've answered a few questions when it comes to the PLT study guide. Again, you can submit that right to Blackboard. If you're ever having problems, submit. You can email me. When I receive it, I send you a quote-unquote thank you email so you know that it's received. Other than that, things that are coming up is you're going to be doing a professional resume. I'll tell you right away, to save myself a lot of time, on a professional resume, you do not need an objective. Everybody loves kids and everybody wants a job to teach. You don't need to list that. The other thing you don't need to list is a list of specific skills. You'll see those as bulleted point items. You don't need that. And lastly, you do need to list your professional references, 3 to 5 individuals, and indicate who those individuals are. So if I'm calling up Joe Blow, I want to know that he's a principal or she's a principal, or this is a person that I worked with at Pizza Hut while I went to school full time and I worked full time. Those types of things are really important, so the person calling on your behalf knows who they're calling and what the type of reference is. Other things I would tell you on the resume, I'm trying to think of some things I've seen students not do really well. You don't need a bunch of color and graphics. The simpler, the better. White space is good. You should always list your education first. So the first thing with below your name and address is your education, and then educational experiences, and then work experiences, even if they're not related to education. You'll go ahead and put those in now. And then lastly is your reference. Okay, so when I say list your education first, the most current education, i.e. your bachelor's in education, or if you have a master's, you list master's, then bachelor's, then high school and below. My opinion is once you have your first teaching job, you need to drop all the high school stuff off your resume. And at this point where you're already at the end of your teaching licensure, you probably can just list your bachelor's. If you have internships in elementary ed, you don't need to list every internship. You could say internships in K through 6, and then maybe list them to the side, but I wouldn't list them vertically. I would list them horizontally. You don't need to take up a lot of space because everyone, again, is going to have the same internships. If you have volunteer experiences or experiences working with children, those are areas that you want to make sure you highlight on that resume. Again, I will give you feedback. So if you send it to me in a Google Doc, it's really easy for me to go in, assess, and look at. However, I think there's a place in Blackboard to go ahead and put that resume. So I'll get those graded. The last thing you're going to be asked to do is watch a movie. I don't advertise that movie is on YouTube because I think it's a pirated copy, but there's lots of places that have the Ron Clark story. I know, for instance, Hastings has it, libraries have it, and sometimes your local school will have it because it's very well known. So if you have questions of me, please let me know. Other than that, I want you to have a fabulous week, and I will talk to you next week. Meanwhile, I am going to grade because I am severely behind. So I hope you have a good week, and take care. See ya.